This is going to be a bit of a follow-up video to my previous one, where it was my first impressions and initial sort of theories and ideas from seeing the Borderlands 4 teaser trailer, and I've really enjoyed seeing all the theories in the comments of that video and elsewhere around the internet, so I wanted to make a video just kind of showcasing and talking about some of these really fun ideas, some more information that has come out about the trailer since its release, and again, just spark that conversation in the comments down below because I've been having a really fun time discussing this trailer. Quick little disclaimer with that though, pretty much everything in this video is 100% speculation. It's all theories, it's all for fun. I'm not really that big of a lore guy. I'm just gonna be tossing out a bunch of ideas that I think are either fun or interesting. So I don't know, if I say something stupid, just feel free to throw a rock at my head or something. However you may be feeling about BL4 and its release, I do think that this trailer was absolutely fucking amazing. Not only just in presentation, but because of how effective it is at creating discussion. This trailer has given so much and so little all at the same time, and it's so fun to watch. But enough glazing, let's get on into things here, and we'll start out with talking about things that have kind of come out since the trailer. So the Iridian text at the end of the trailer has been translated to say, "He is watching and break free." Presumably, this is in reference to the face that we see, however, this may not entirely be the case. But the specific use of he is very interesting. It does seem like that means there is going to be some sort of focal individual, whether it's going to be an antagonist or an ally, yet to be seen, though my guess would probably be antagonist, because that's pretty fucking ominous. But I think what's also important is the term watching, which may seem innocuous, I mean it's just a word, but the Guardian at the end of the pre-sequel that mentions that war is coming is called the Watcher. I don't think this is referring specifically to the Watcher. In fact, I think this message could be coming from the Watcher since it's written in Iridian, but I highly doubt that the use of the term watching is coincidental, and 100% I do believe that BL4 is for sure going to be taking on that war storyline. Now coming back to the actual face though, we do have full confirmation from Randy Pitchford that this is not Jack. Granted, that came from Randy Pitchford's Twitter, and just about everything he posts on there I do take with the entire fucking salt shaker. Something worth noting with this though, while the trailer does say he, Randy Pitchford's tweet says, "That's not handsome Jack, that is something far more dangerous and sinister." Don't know if this really means anything, but I do think it could potentially be an interesting choice of words. I do hope that this fully means that there just is no Jack, but I don't know. It could be like, this face isn't Jack, haha, but he comes back in some other form anyways. I don't fucking know. I do think that this face though is at least related to Jack or the artifact that scarred him with that vault symbol, because again, that symbol is right over the face. There has been some misinformation with this though, as the image that has been going around a lot has actually been flipped to better match Jack's face. The original is actually reversed from how it is on his face. But if that is the intention to still kind of invoke Jack and kind of make you think, okay, people sort of related to him, there's two possibilities here. I think the weaker of the two is probably Wilhelm. I've seen this kind of thrown around in some places. It sort of looks Wilhelm-esque, but I do think it's a bit of a stretch, as much as I do love this idea though. Imagine if at some point before Wilhelm dies in BL2, he managed to fully upload his consciousness as an AI. This might sound kind of cheesy at first, but I think it is the absolute best way to conclude Wilhelm's character and to also really see it through to its logical conclusion. Wilhelm's entire identity is being the ship of Theseus. He's a man who was completely addicted to augmenting his body, to the point where when we do see him in BL2, he's nothing more than a robot with a human head. And even then, we don't know how human that head is. It could be completely augmented as well. At that point, the only way to augment yourself further is to fully become digital, is to upload his consciousness into an AI, and in that state, he would have his entire being exactly as he'd want it to be, fully fucking augmentable. And there's a lot that you can do with that. What I would love to see personally is if somehow the Guardians got a hold of it and started uploading Wilhelm's fucking AI into themselves. But again, I kind of think that Wilhelm is a bit of a stretch here, as much as I would love to see that character return in a satisfying manner and to get an actual proper send-off. I kind of doubt that's gonna happen. The second option is actually who I initially saw when I saw that face, but I kind of just didn't really think it actually was him, and that would be Mr. Blake. And the longer I looked at the face and him and compared the two, and the more I looked into his involvement in the series, the more I started thinking maybe it was him. I'm gonna quickly compare the faces. Immediately with the hairline, you have that dip down and you have those little bits coming down on the side. It's almost exactly the same with Mr. Blake. Both of them have that really big, wide, chunky nose. But what really did it for me was the wrinkle lines next to the nose match up, and also that really gaunt look to his cheeks. His cheekbones heavily dipping inward and going straight down. It's exactly what's going on with this face. The only part that kind of loses me is the eyebrows don't 100% match up, and the big one is that Blake's 5 head is not present. But even then, I don't know, it still just fucking looks like Blake to me. Now, I looked into him to kind of refresh myself on his involvement, and I was actually surprised to see that he was involved a little bit more than I thought he was. Of course, BL1 he doesn't really do too much. In the pre-sequel, we learn that he's the guy that held the Vault Hunter competition to recruit for Jack in Overlook. And in BL2, he's actually pretty damn involved, especially kind of acting as a right hand to Jack in a lot of situations. TPS and BL2 do set him up pretty heavily to be kind of very connected in with Jack, and again, if they're invoking that Jack imagery, maybe it is him. Now, he really isn't very present in BL3, but what I did find interesting is that he is actually still there. Each time you kill 100 enemies with a Hyperion weapon and get sent one for free, Mr. Blake, being the president of Mercenary Relations and Tourism, is who signs and sends all that mail. So while it's not much, it is kind of neat to see that this character isn't totally forgotten. Now, with that all being said, interjecting here in post because there is actually something I forgot to mention with this face, and it is potentially the 7th Siren that is mentioned in the Iridian writings during Borderlands 3. We know that she did lock herself away in a vault, and that could be what the vault imagery is supposed to be. And if it was just Randy's tweet that we were going off of, where he says again, that is not handsome Jack, that is something far more powerful. Yeah, maybe, but the fact that he is used, and I mean, this is just a very masculine looking face, I have my doubts that this is the face of the 7th Siren. I do genuinely think that this probably is just an entirely separate character and not anyone that we've seen before. And the use of the vault symbol isn't necessarily meant to actually kind of make you think Jack, but rather just specifically that Iridian tech that kind of let him see the future. Because, as we learned at the end of the mysteriously request line in BL3, the timeline is very important and future events are supposed to go a specific way. Throughout the events of BL3, the Seer was helping the COV and trying to make sure that Pandora opened as it was supposed to. When Lilith teleported Elpis away from Pandora and stopped the Great Vault from opening, the Seer says that she irreparably damaged the timeline. I just want to put it out there again, this is why the pre-sequel was the best fucking game. Not only does it set up Elpis being a fucking vault key for 3, but them showing that Jack was shown future fucking visions that changed, that the Vault Hunters were able to mess with the fucking timeline, setting up that the future isn't set in stone and that the Guardians try to protect it because they have knowledge of how things are supposed to go. And now we're seeing that that is probably going to be the basis of the fucking war that they called out at the end of the game. Goddamn, dude, TPS has always been a damn good story, but oh my god, it just gets better and better as the series goes on. But again, that is probably what this war is going to end up being. It's going to be fucking Vault Hunters against fate. The Guardians are going to be pissed off that Lilith teleported the moon, broke the timeline, and they're going to want to try to set shit straight. This is also probably where the Watcher fits in. We know that the Guardians don't really seem to like the Watcher. Storage has this line that goes hard as fuck.
Burdened is a billion world, I live and die, while others watch and turn a blinded eye.
But I think this is definitely about the Watcher. I mean, in the quote itself, watch is capitalized in the subtitles. And I think the Guardians just don't really like the Watcher because the Watcher prefers to just, well, watch. The Watcher wants things to unfold as they will, rather than forcing the timeline to work in a specific way. The Watcher turns a blind eye to the timeline being damaged because, in its view, it sees that the timeline should probably just go on as it will without interference, while the other Guardians want to keep the future as it's supposed to happen. This also calls back to the other of the two messages at the end of the trailer. If these messages are from the Watcher, then break free can be interpreted as the Watcher telling you to fight, to continue breaking free from the preset timeline, to pretty much tell Destiny to kiss your ass. And god damn it, I think that sounds dope as hell. Now the final things to talk about here is the planet and the hand within the trailer. So there's actually a pretty key detail that I actually missed with my last video. And it's what led to my idea that I thought Elpis was kind of like crashing through space itself and maybe going into a separate dimension or some shit. But when it first makes contact with what it crashes through, the shimmer actually goes in a sphere around it. So it does almost 100% seem like Elpis is crashing through some sort of camouflage shield. But it shattering like this without anything sort of mechanical seeming to be visible, it's at least very high-tech. High-tech cloaking and architecture that seems very tall and very sleek. I don't know, that's kind of sounding potentially like Maliwan. Especially since in BL3 we do see Maliwan troops that have this sort of cloaking tech. Of course, there's not really much to go off of with that, but to me it does kind of seem Maliwan-like. But why is Elpis crashing into this planet? Why is this the location that Lilith managed to teleport the moon to? Well, Elpis is a vault key, and we know that vault keys act as maps and have the ability to seek out vaults. Of course, in BL3 it's also mentioned that sirens are very drawn to Pandora because it's the Great Vault. But what if Pandora isn't the Great Vault? What if there's multiple Great Vaults? Hell, what if the timeline isn't actually irreparably damaged? What if the Guardians fucked it up and we're just wrong and this is the Great Vault that's meant to open? Now finally, again, I want to bring up the hand because it is definitely just a very interesting design. As I mentioned in the last video, it does definitely look Guardian-like, but it's for sure not a Guardian. And I think it could actually make sense that if this is Maliwan, maybe this is their CEO picking up the mask. Again, it's that white, very sleek design on the forearm, which Maliwan is known for. And those long, claw-like fingernails could kind of be a symbol of ferocity. Kind of like a little, I may be elegant, but don't fuck with me kind of thing. And that does seem very fitting for Maliwan. Now, of course, being a cinematic trailer, gameplay-wise, there's not really much to talk about, but I do think it's interesting that this is the first look that we get at BL4, and potentially could maybe mean that this is the environment that we're going to be starting in. Now, I wasn't originally a fan of the fact that we immediately started seeing Elpis here. I don't like the idea that we're going to be picking up Lilith again this soon. BL3 was all about Lilith's fall from grace and learning that she's kind of not that great of a leader as long as she doesn't have her powers, because she never learned how to function in this environment without having these godlike abilities. And especially with having pretty much an army behind her now, she kind of has been a little out of touch with the on-the-ground action. I mean, being a foot soldier is definitely a different experience from being someone who can just teleport down and fucking vaporize an entire area of people. So I thought that was kind of a great arc to send her off on for a bit. Have her learn that, and then BL3 be a passing of the torch down to Ava, who, however you feel about the character, is a great mirror to Lilith. She has a very similar arc and learns all the same lessons that Lilith did, but did it all without having these godlike powers to fall back on. But I've actually come around to the idea because of some comments on the last video talking about maybe the game starts on Elpis or on this new planet. And yeah, that could be really cool. Maybe Lilith takes that kick in the ass from BO3, gets her shit together, and jumps on this new opportunity to start fresh, to put together a ragtag little group, and to kind of get her groove back by learning once again how to command without a massive army and by being on the ground in the thick of it. And assuming that she is reintroduced this early, I do think that that could be a very good way of doing it. But that's not about do it, because I don't really have much more to say on the matter. Again, I fucking love this trailer. I think this has been the most fun I've had speculating on Borderlands shit in quite some time. And if you've got any of your own theories, I don't care how batshit crazy out there they are, I would love to hear them in the comments down below. Because again, I just love the discussion going on around this. I think it's so fun, and I really just want to keep the ball rolling on it. But that's about do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all of that. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.